다 있네요. 당선거 감나 때스타비 종kir그 뭐당 제바 탐치도는 릉증가 살락샤 저거는 까모래다. 있나요? 다래 회나 금신 뭐범 잠초고도 망각 치자바 세문즈 줄라서 바고 공바르다나요. 당선거 감나 조바 진보 상황을 틀었다니나 되니 지금 르네다는 정화 침보 매나요. 다래 이거 다 ರಂಗ semgngo cherta jund tone tani ringzeng sala de gatsak kawle chiang me pi ko na shop de tari de song de dance to be song mo yore.
So maybe nowadays maybe it will be difficult that all the beings, everyone in the city, like the entire city, would attain the state of Vidyadharas, but yet through the power of secret mantra and the teachings of Zopa Chempo, just as the example of Mipham Rinphche, who realized the nature of his mind by receiving the instructions, then it is possible to attain the realization of the nature of mind without having a very great quality of learning. So it is possible to obtain the stages of Vidyadharas even without having a great learning.
Zhōngngiq pārmo chējik tsaq chōngi, rīngzhīn sālaq shiqti zablam tī zhōngri. Tī chizhēri zhīna, tini tāqsāngwar ngiqi līgndi tūpar gyā chīpo mārgu, shirtōng tūpar jir gōri. Tūpar gyā chīmbo pē nādari jīg zhōngkāpur ngāndara, ngōmbāda, tsabmādana, wōmādana, chirshīn lāsukpa tini lō pē nā ngā 자사가 더 그런 밥들 거네 나타 파치 가서 라롱 가네 나 롭종아 그런 아타리 오종가 보는 아르족요래 다 된다 잠고 다리 투바디치 맨나야 쳐래 투바디치 먹고 버려 당일에 레전드 디츠드 트레이닝 거 당부 투바디치 먹고 버려 도르즈 있다네 투바디치 먹고 버려 그래와.
So first, so about this realization of the nature of mind, so it is said that even without a vast learning and reflecting on the teaching, through the Pith instructions alone, one can realize the nature of mind and attain the stages of Vidyadharas. So therefore, in the secret mantra, we say we don't need to have a very vast study of the teaching. We do need to study the teachings, though. It's we do need to have a certain understanding of the secret mantras. But when we say this, the studies don't have to be that vast. Like it's not like in the monasteries when you study the 5 great kind of scriptures like Vinaya and Abhidharma and logic and so forth. For example, in Santa Larongar, the study program is of 15 years of a study program for all the texts. So this kind of study you don't actually need to do. So when we say we don't need to have a vast study, it doesn't mean you don't need to study anything. Like in the secret mantra, you do need to study the view of Madhyamika, of the middle path, and you do need to study the teachings of preliminary practices, and these things you need to understand them, but it doesn't need to be as deep and as vast of a study as studying the 5 kinds of scriptural knowledges and so forth.
망을릭 지sem을 경화해서 망을릭 지sem을 경험전 소다리가 되니 실던 거 망을데라 다 몽보지거래다 망을릭 지sem을 경고나 다리 공도지 반들 흥은조도 흥은이 차창을 소나 배여버려 막 도제면 흥은조를 망즈메데 타끌거 당상 배나 측섬나 똑다네 20라마다나 대전다나 다 지금 간조냐 등 뭐마냐 등 타끌거 라마 탐주거 송도인데 라만가리 응알라 된자양 송거도 와 당보 흥은조용데 때 납축금만 대처고 또 당래 예금만데 타끌거 르방 못잖네 되니 흥은조 송나 배여버려는데다 다때 디즈 년까지 하는 연도래
So and then we say through the peace instruction, one like should maintain the essence of mind, the essence of awareness, Rigpa. So the peace instruction, there are many kinds of peace instructions, but it's very good to first have the support of the preliminary practices. Otherwise, if you directly introduce the peace instructions, such as the 3 verses that hit the crucial point, or instruction of Yeshe Lama, or the Khandro Nintik, the heart essence of the Dakini, or the Bima Nintik, the heart essence of Bima Mitra. So, if you introduce that without the preliminary practices, then it can be a little bit dangerous. As some lamas told me, to Westerners you need to teach them directly the Dzogchen and the introduction to nature of mind, and then the preliminary practices. Otherwise, if you introduce only the preliminary practices, then they get very bored. So I heard that and I thought, this must be a little bit dangerous.
다 다리 진저스르데 가스팅 오니가 르방 옴초 찬나다 다데 응원조다나 데 뭔가 된다 장 매나야 초래 르방 옴초 찬나 다 옛나야 소 르방 옴초 비탑도 되니 장화데 베카침보리.
So if we once we have recognized the nature of mind, then maybe it would be okay not to have done the 5 preliminary practice, but it is actually very beneficial to perform the preliminary practice in order to recognize the nature of mind.
다데인데 소 데 망각도 그 셈고 종이 데 종lik 종아 침보 맨나요. 오늘 이제 라마프션럽잔 드니 로마요 따빠쟁이네나 드니 지금 망각뇨 그거거네나 또 곰잡네나 셈고 종다 거다 르데레 데요레 데텔라 된 거래.
So mainly when we talk about the maintaining the essence of mind through the peace instruction, so is that without studying in a very vast way, like this very vast amount of scriptures, then through the blessings of a realized Lama and the devotion of the disciple, then with even a little bit of peace instructions, then by meditating them one can realize the nature of mind.
Tene tertavi chu nyamselenda ka kanzak de cherezena zhongnga parmo cheji. Zhongnga de zhongba ga na pena 지 gomba ga na yoni ge 지 raptup chongwa da na tene geshi da khambo denra mayan jangnayo rangkhur ka nga chu tene de 지 zhongba da na samkhang da na da nimo chona na yo na zhongnga parmo che de ma che wa da da nga chu nyama ga chona ya tertavi chu nyamle shin ka mambo yo ne lama pe da ri 지 짝 첨보가 또 차추장가 회나 딩곰 견수는 뭐지 던중은 뭐지 데라소바가 회나 처지는 뭐지라소바 당럽건 이렇게 나요 라마 뭐뭐지도 요너래 양때 따위다리금 상년 띠모 매영나란 다양하지 로마다리 용시다나 대전도는 지다 자와 용시 띠모 소양나 샘쳤다베다나 다 띠모 앞에 뭐뭐지도 요건을 대내나 그 종력 팔모 체제다 종력 다 무슨 파르타니나 다 쇼바요는 차른 초라이네 되니 지 건강원이 나라 투바요나 지 베나 지 게시다나 종가 보르가보다나 티모초 탐츠보 참마다리가 지 로종 타르신 맨킨가 하르타나 단디 징에노 산나라나 동거던거 장기 다리가 지 셈견엘이 저타진 또용 그거 모지건데 딘디 답라만밤 것도 세몬습스가 나나 치레되나 종력 파르모 체지가 되게다 때때때송래.
So when we say to meditate on the and to how to say, it says based on the peace instruction, one can realize the nature of mind, and therefore the sort of this realization can arise in the mind of even like a very like a ordinary people, or like any sort of like a lay people or like a city people. It doesn't have to be people who stay like in a hermitage for very long, or people who have very great study. And even the lamas, there's very great lamas such as Digo Khyentse Rinpoche, Dudru Rinpoche, or Minling Chinchen, who themselves were Ngakpas. But there are also many other lamas who, like smaller lama with less disciples, some monks and as disciples, and maybe some lay people as disciples. And you could think that their conduct is sometimes a little bit strange and so forth. But yet, even without having a great study, and even from the outside, even if they don't look like they are great imposing lama, they still can have the realization of nature of mind and give their student the realization of the nature of mind. And the same, like you can have some monks that don't really get a high grade of study, but yet they have ultimately realized the nature of mind. So therefore, this realization can be can even be found by ordinary people without having to necessarily be having a great level of study and so forth.